The Thunderbolts have finally struck theaters, but even though the newest Marvel movie is live, the MCU still feels like a shadow of its former self. It'll take more than just one film to bring the franchise back to its glory days, especially when it comes to the box office haul. After months of hype, Thunderbolts has finally arrived in theaters, and if critics are to be believed, it's one of Marvel's best projects in years. The team-up film has been praised by superhero fans and skeptics alike, earning an impressive 88% score on Rotten Tomatoes Tomato Meter as of the day of its release. Critics have praised the characters' dynamics within the Thunderbolts roster of B-list anti-heroes, with pointed praise being given to Florence Pugh as former Black Widow Yelena Belova.
The assignment is... oh wait, hang on. Assignment is complete.
That said, most of the positive reviews of Thunderbolts come with a caveat. Even though this particular Marvel movie is worth the price of admission, it comes with the baggage of the many critical flops that came before it. Variety's Peter DeBruge put it well when he started his review with the statement, "For Marvel fans, Thunderbolts may well be remembered as the film that got the hobbling MCU franchise back on track. Although that's mostly just wishful thinking from those who've been faithfully keeping up with every sequel, spin-off, and TV series Marvel pumps into the oversaturated marketplace." Based on Thunderbolts' opening weekend haul, it wasn't a failure, but still has a ways to go to make all its money back. Its budget was reportedly $180 million, and that doesn't include the marketing, which cost roughly the same. Gone are the days when the Marvel Studios logo on a film guaranteed financial success. Even though there's a good chance Thunderbolts still has legs at the box office, that doesn't mean Marvel is in the clear. It's just one of many upcoming films, all of which require hundreds of millions of dollars to make and market. Even though Thunderbolts is a critical win for Marvel, it might be too little too late in turning the tide of the MCU. If you were one of the millions of people who went to see Avengers Endgame on opening weekend in 2019, you probably remember the electricity in the room when Captain America picked up Mjolnir and assembled the Avengers for their last stand against Thanos. After 3 phases of build-up that lasted over a decade, Earth's mightiest heroes finally gave it their all. And after Iron Man gave his life to end the conflict, the Avengers decided to disband. That's a great ending, but Marvel Studios wasn't about to miss out on the possibility of another multi-billion-dollar smash. The MCU just kept on trucking. It's been 6 years since then, and a lot of the Marvel magic is gone. The only MCU projects post-Endgame that really felt like must-see events were Spider-Man No Way Home and maybe Deadpool and Wolverine, but only because they brought back iconic superhero actors to take on the villains of their past. Nostalgia sells, which is why Marvel's next event movie, Avengers Doomsday, will be bringing a bunch more of the Fox X-Men into the MCU. But the nostalgia well is going to dry up before long, and Marvel Studios will have to rely on actual creativity more often in the near future unless they up and reboot the whole thing. Thunderbolts proves that these ideas can be successful, but the multiversal plotlines in store mean that originality will be taking a back seat in 2026.
You feel fulfilled?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so full. So filled.
Thunderbolts marks the end of Phase 5's film slate, which began in 2023 and contains 6 movies of wildly varying quality. So how was it as a whole? Phase 5 had a rocky start in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which aimed to be a psychedelic odyssey but ended up as more of a CGI mess. Thankfully, the phase was quickly redeemed by Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which tugged on the heartstrings and gave the spacefaring team a beautiful send-off for now. Next up was The Marvels, and even though Captain Marvel broke the billion-dollar mark in 2019, the team-up sequel wasn't so lucrative. With a box office gross of just over $206 million, it left theaters with the lowest earnings in MCU history. It was followed by Deadpool and Wolverine, which went sharply in the other direction and became the highest-grossing R-rated movie of all time. The last Phase 5 film to release before Thunderbolts was Captain America: Brave New World, which earned mixed reviews and much less money than Marvel Studios had hoped for. If we consider Thunderbolts a win, that's still only a 50% success rate. Adding insult to injury, the best film in the phase pre-Thunderbolts, Guardians 3, was directed by James Gunn, who's now the co-CEO of DC Studios and helming their new Superman film. With one of their best directors now leading the competition, Marvel is going to have to move in a new direction if they want critics to like their projects. If that recap seems short, it's because feature films make up less than half of Marvel's output during Phase 5. The MCU's extension to television started with WandaVision in Phase 4, but what started as an entertaining novelty has quickly spiraled out of control. Phase 5 contains a whopping 9 seasons of television, and even though the animated ones are more standalone for now, the rest are all necessary if you want to understand what's happening in the sacred timeline. Even though Marvel Studios has only been producing shows for Disney Plus since 2021, it's already become hard to keep up. For example, if you want to fully appreciate Thunderbolts, you need to watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier to learn how Bucky Barnes and John Walker came to know each other. If you're wondering what Yelena has been up to since a post-credit scene of Black Widow, you'll have to sit through Hawkeye to see her attempt to assassinate Clint Barton and eventually spare his life. Those shows both have 6 episodes each that average 45 minutes apiece, meaning that a commitment of at least 9 hours is required for context, not to mention the recurring cost of a Disney Plus subscription. And that's not even scratching the surface of Marvel's avalanche of television content. Phase 5's television lineup hasn't been terribly impressive. Secret Invasion started things off with a thud, Echo was completely forgettable, and the upcoming Ironheart feels like it's coming out 2 years too late. Even Daredevil Born Again, which promised to return to the gritty street-level conflicts depicted in the Netflix series, was inconsistent in tone and quality, probably because the creative team was swapped out partway through. Nevertheless, it's all necessary to watch if you're looking to witness the full scope of the MCU. A single project is a drop in the bucket. The creative overhaul of Daredevil Born Again is just one of many hiccups that Marvel Studios has had to deal with in recent memory. The multiverse saga has been riddled with fires that Kevin Feige and company have had to put out. In 2022, it was announced that the 5th Avengers movie was going to be called The Kang Dynasty, starring Jonathan Majors as the villain Kang. The character was established in Loki and Quantumania as a multiversal threat with countless variants, but Marvel had to pivot after Destin Daniel Cretton dropped out as director and Majors' legal battles got him fired from future films. Avengers 5 got pushed back a year and reworked into Avengers Doomsday, directed by the Russo brothers and starring Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom. Even though filming has finally started, several sources claim that a script had not been finalized at the time, meaning that Dr. Doom's plane is being built while it's already in the air. And then there's the matter of Blade. A version of the deadly Daywalker played by Mahershala Ali was announced in 2019 and teased in the post-credits scene of Eternals, but pre-production on a solo film has gone infamously poorly. The project consistently shedded talent, had several creative overhauls, and was delayed multiple times, eventually being taken off the release schedule altogether. I mean, if you can't make a movie about a badass vampire killer, what can you do?
There's only been one Blade. There's only ever going to be one Blade.
Those are the biggest examples of Marvel swapping out filmmakers and release dates, but far from the only ones. The chaos won't suddenly stop just because a single movie did well. If you've been paying attention to the marketing for Thunderbolts, of which there has been a whole lot, you might have noticed that it's taken a peculiar angle. Seemingly understanding that moviegoers are tired of cookie-cutter superhero action, Marvel has made an effort to differentiate their newest film by comparing it to some of the most beloved independent movies of recent years, especially those distributed by the company A24. One trailer, labeled Absolute Cinema on YouTube, went as far as to credit the Thunderbolts production designer, editor, and composer through the A24 projects they previously worked on. Star Florence Pugh has made the comparison directly, telling Empire, "It ended up becoming this quite badass indie A24-feeling assassin movie with Marvel superheroes." As a subsidiary of Walt Disney Studios and the producers of the most profitable film franchise of all time, Marvel Studios is not in the business of making indies. Frankly, calling Thunderbolts an independent movie is like calling your local Walmart a small business. Nevertheless, the film still takes a departure from the green screen heavy slugfest the MCU is known for by featuring real stunts shot on location. If it didn't, its reviews probably wouldn't be nearly as positive. So is Marvel going to learn a lesson from Thunderbolt's success and start making more thoughtfully crafted movies? Probably not. Avengers Doomsday is slated for release on May 1st, 2026, almost exactly 1 year after it started filming on April 28th, 2025 without a completed script. Can such a sprawling project come together that quickly and still be worthy of complete critical praise? It's not impossible, but it's not very likely either. So if Thunderbolts can't save the MCU, what can? Perhaps Marvel's first family could swoop in to save the day. Fans have been waiting a long time for Marvel Studios to reboot the Fantastic Four, and First Steps is finally bringing the quartet into the fold.
We will protect you.
What's notable about First Steps is that it takes place in a universe that isn't Earth 616, allowing Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm to exist without the baggage of dozens of other movies and shows. This new universe also looks visually distinct, with a cozy 60s-inspired look that invokes the legendary comic book artist Jack Kirby. It seems like a surefire recipe for success, for one movie. Galactus arrives on Earth on First Steps, and if he's anything like his comic book counterparts, his singular goal is to consume the entire planet and everyone on it. Considering that the Fantastic Four are slated to meet the Thunderbolts of Earth 616 and the X-Men of Earth 10005 in Doomsday, many fans have theorized that the Devourer of Worlds will devour their worlds indeed, retro-futuristic aesthetic and all. Or maybe the Fantastic Four do stop Galactus, but everything gets destroyed anyway by a universal incursion in Doomsday or Secret Wars. Either option would devastate billions of lives, and to a lesser degree, the audience. With both Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four first steps, Marvel Studios has shown that they're willing to experiment, but not as willing to do multiple trials. With the Russo brothers back to direct and Robert Downey Jr. in the role of Doom, it seems like the next Avengers movie will probably play it safe. That's good if you want to make money, but not if you want to make something truly unique and memorable. The idea of superhero fatigue is brought up in a lot of discussions about film, and in 2025 there's definitely some truth to that theory. Even though Marvel Studios still has the occasional billion-dollar gross like they did with Deadpool and Wolverine, many moviegoers have grown tired of the formula that they've been using since 2008. They want to see something they've never seen before, and one of Thunderbolts' biggest competitors at the box office fits the bill. The blues-fueled action horror period piece Sinners surpassed everyone's expectations when it was released to nearly unanimous positive reviews on April 18, 2025. The story of a Mississippi juke joint coming under siege by vampires got a 98% score on Rotten Tomatoes Tomato Meter and resonated with audiences far more than superhero movie number 35 ever could. It made $63.5 million worldwide in just its opening weekend and filled up IMAX theaters across America right up until Thunderbolts took those screens for itself. It's also notable that Sinners was directed by Ryan Coogler and stars Michael B. Jordan, as both managed to break free of the MCU after lending their talents to the Black Panther movies. Critics who've grown particularly tired of the Marvel formula have been quick to point out the narrative that the success of Sinners plays into. Rohan Nahar didn't mince words in his review for the Indian Express when he wrote, "Is it a stretch to draw a parallel between culture-appropriating, blood-sucking white vampires and Marvel Studios? Not really. Sinners probably won't tear down Marvel Studios just by keeping everyone's attention away from Thunderbolts. In fact, it's quite likely that Marvel will bring Coogler back into the fold to direct Black Panther 3. But nevertheless, Sinners' success is a reminder that the tide of audience opinion is continuing to shift in the long term, and not in Marvel's favor.
Yeah, so?
So, someone wants us gone.
We've gone over a lot of reasons why Thunderbolts bringing in a solid amount of cash won't save the MCU. But let's not forget, a film doesn't have to rescue an entire franchise to be good. That certified fresh Rotten Tomatoes score is for a good reason, as Thunderbolts is a breath of fresh air and one of the best installments of the multiverse saga. There's lots to love about the newest Marvel movie. The jokes aren't totally obnoxious, the fight scenes pack a punch, and the characters have a whole lot of heart regardless of their respective kill counts. It's great to see some of the less appreciated established anti-heroes get the spotlight for once. And Bob Reynolds, played by Lewis Pullman in his MCU debut, is an excellent addition to the cast with a whole lot of potential going into Doomsday. There are plenty of reasons to be cynical about Marvel Studios nowadays, but a genuinely entertaining film is always worth celebrating, even if you have to watch some TV to fully get it. Thunderbolts won't save the MCU, but it's still worth a watch while it's still in theaters. Besides, don't you want to know what that asterisk stands for?